Could this be one of the most versatile acoustic guitars available for under £10,000? Now I know that there will be some of you out there that might be slightly surprised to hear me talking in such glowing terms of a brand new Gibson acoustic guitar. And I'll admit that my experiences with vintage examples of the Hummingbird, that's what this is over the years, have left me less than impressed from a tonal point of view. This is a Murphy Lab Gibson Hummingbird, and we'll take a look at exactly what that means in just a moment. But it appears to have made a difference. Since its launch, the Gibson Garage in London has gone from strength to strength with some incredible events. I recently found myself in the elevator with Jimmy Page at the launch of the new Jeff Beck Yardburst Les Paul, which was nice. Perhaps understandably, the focus is mainly on iconic electric guitars such as the Les Paul, SG, Flying V and Firebird, gorgeous things like that. But there is a very welcoming acoustic section. And it was here that I first saw some of the new Gibson Murphy Lab acoustics. These are custom shop guitars that have undergone a level of aging, both aesthetic and sonic, that stops short of a full relic, but certainly sets them apart from their glossy, brand new counterparts. Now if you think about it, acoustic guitars, well, they're a lot more fragile than their electric counterparts, so the sort of wear that looks cool on a Les Paul Jr. would probably translate into cracked and cleated tops, split rims, bellying, cigarette burns, and the other indignities that can befall vintage flat tops. So if you're going for this kind of vibe, a lighter cosmetic aging makes sense. And as you can see, we've got checking across the whole of the lacquer, a couple of artful dings here and there, and a matte finish that looks like it's gassed off for decades. From a distance this does look like an old guitar, but to the connoisseur you can tell what's up when you get closer. It's a light guitar, but not quite as lightly built as a vintage original. Also, there is zero fretboard wear, not even the usual A minor, E and D shapes. And the giveaway is, well, it just smells too nice. There's no ancient cigarette smoke, or sweat, or mildew top notes going on here. Nor do we have the fine layer of nicotine that you often encounter in the patina of vintage instruments. Now, I've always been intrigued by the Hummingbird. It was Gibson's first square-shouldered dreadnought after all, although the same Kalamazoo factory had been making the Epiphone Frontier model for a while already. It's made from mahogany and Sitka spruce, essentially making it Gibson's shorter scale answer to the Martin D18, which is one of my favourite guitars. When it came out, the Hummingbird initially found favour with the Rolling Stones. You can see them here writing Sympathy for the Devil on a pair of very new looking Hummingbirds and an SJ200. It's been a staple of country and rock since its inception in the 60s, most often seen in the hands of Tom Petty. And here in the UK, well, it's been used by Tom York of Radiohead, Richard Ashcroft of The Verve. I thought Graham Parsons had used one, but it was a Frontier all along. It's funny though, this guitar was always advertised as the ultimate singer-songwriter's instrument, which gives the impression that it's destined to take a back seat rather than a starring role. But there must be more to it than just vocal accompaniment, right? Well, one of the things that makes the Hummingbird a great guitar for accompanying vocals is that mahogany tends to give you a more fundamental sound. There are less overtones going on. In short, there's less information to get in the way of the vocals. But that also makes it a great fingerstyle instrument if you're looking for a woody and immediate timbre. Another characteristic that tends to define guitars that work well for vocal accompaniment is they don't have a particularly long envelope. The sustain is there and usable, but it doesn't go on for ages. This means a more precise guitar in terms of chord changes. Finally, despite its size, the Hummingbird's bass response in standard tuning is not overpowering. This is a really nice recording guitar, but when you put it into drop tunings, it can still flex its muscles as a solo instrument. Let's talk woods. The mahogany on the back and sides, well, it has a nice sheen to it. A bit of a stripe, in fact. Normally, I'd associate this sort of thing with sapelli, but I have seen it in genuine mahogany too. And we also have a torrefied spruce soundboard. For the uninitiated, this is the process of heating, or roasting, or baking, or toasting, depending on who you listen to, the wood in question. The aim of this is to dry it out thoroughly and replicate the aging process of a guitar. There is also an argument to suggest that torrefaction helps to speed up the crystallization of the sap content of the wood, which is also something that happens as a guitar lives its life. All of these things are intended to give a new guitar a vintage sound, but the fact is I've played brand new luthier-made guitars that have been voiced accordingly, that sounded sound immediately warm and open and, let's say, vintage. Some of these guitars have even had Adirondack spruce soundboards, which accepted internet wisdom would have us believe needs to be played in for a while before it sounds like it should. In my own experience, Sitka spruce has a tendency towards a slightly metallic immediacy to the transient at the best of times, and I found that this tends to be exacerbated in many of the torrefied wood guitars that I've played over the years. But in this case, it really seems to work. One thing that won't have escaped your attention is the sheer size of the pickguard. This is a Gibson thing. They like big pickguards that tell a story. In this case, we can see the Hummingbird from which the guitar gets its name. Does it affect the way that the top vibrates? Probably, but not enough to make me feel like it shouldn't be here. Certainly not as much as the Everly Brothers double pickguard design. Look, it's classic 1960s kitsch, and if you don't like it, well, other guitars are available. Now, you may have seen one of these on vintage Gibson guitars from the 1960s. It's one of the less successful bridge designs ever, and it incorporated an adjustable ceramic saddle and grub screws. I try and keep my list of pet hates to the absolute minimum necessary, but this is one of my least favourite things, and I'm very happy to see a belly-up bridge with a classic straight bone saddle on this guitar. Sure, it may not be immediately adjustable, and the saddle is uncompensated, but that is a sacrifice I would be more than happy to make. I have a theory that the adjustable bridge design, the big pickguard and the slim neck of the original Hummingbird may all have been contributing factors when it came to the idea of it being a guitar destined to play a supporting role. But that was then, this is now, and what we have here is actually a very impressive square shoulder mahogany dreadnought. Okay, the visuals may not be for everyone, but don't discount it just because of that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much to Gibson UK for the chance to spend some time with this guitar. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay tuned.